We are now moments away from qualifying here for the FRL Spanish Grand Prix. Our race winner last week at Cota for round one, Sierra. Can he repeat? Are we going to see a new race winner today as the Haas of Outfox? Well, he did pretty well last week, coming second. We still have a lot of shaking up on the grid, too. We will get those classifications sorted out soon. But anyway, I am Nexi. I'm joined here with Pridas. We are moments away from getting into qualifying. And well, I think I'm gonna ask, what makes a good qualifying lap here in Spain?
It's good qualifying, like you say.
Yeah. No pressure. Just an open-ended question.
Yes. Honestly, I don't know the exact words for it. Other than nailing the right corners down and getting the feel for it.
Yeah.
You have all that
Yeah.
fluff.
Yeah, it's one of those circuits where mix of high speed, mix of low speed, some finicky bits, some fast bits. You kind of have to be just on your game. Your setup has to be balanced correctly. And then it's also like with the changes, we are missing that final chicane, so it's a really fast lead up, like near flat. You can take it flat with the right wing setup for the last turn now. You have to be mindful of the track limits there. I have a feeling we're going to see a couple track limit violations.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Within.
Oh yeah. Pretty sure of it. For some people.
Yeah. It's just really easy, especially with two high-speed right-handers like that, to just carry a little too much speed, either miss the apex or just run out wide onto the curb. And now, the teams are going to be getting ready. We go. As we are loading in, I wonder what the tire strategy is going to be like for this qualifying session. You think? Do you think more drivers are going to want to save? It's an extra set of softs for the race, or are they going to want to maybe expend that for grid position?
The former, that's that's why I would imagine. That's why I would think what happened.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
some people.
Yeah, I know Zed down in the McLaren really likes to use all three sets in qualifying. We'll see where they come in. And the timer is off. 18 minutes of qualifying
Begins.
though I don't know if the drivers have quite realized it yet.
At least, though, I see a Red Bull coming out.
Yeah.
Both
Oh, here we
Bulls.
go now. It's Bluey first. He's gonna have a pretty clean track, and then it's a whole gaggle of cars coming out now.
Jeez.
That's a Sauber of. It's not Laz, that's Troy to lead Sauber. Then we got the Alpha Tauri of Kimaru. They are AT Wolf on our timing screens. And then we have two McLarens, Morgan being the rear one behind Aston Martin of Avery, and then it's Zed in the other McLaren. And we have two Red Bulls now on our minimap here. Lenny is the leading one. He is the reigning champion.
The
Not
defending champion.
Well, yeah, he was on the podium, at least provisionally. There was a track limit investigation that may alter the final result in COTA for that podium. But we have not quite finalized that classification.
Or at least not yet.
Yeah, that's why I said not quite.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're good. Nikki, the Ferrari on track. And we are going to see Bluey now coming around in the Williams. Gonna approach Skylar, but he shouldn't really run into Skylar's the Aston Martin. As he runs up, he darts across the S's, leading on to the flat-out right-hander. Misses the apex a little bit, but gets the DRS deployment. Brakes pretty much at the 75-meter board mark. Little late. Eat some curb for the apex. Little bit of room on the outside. Not really riding the curb there. Going around the last turn. Ended in the middle of the track, and it's a 1:14.5. And Troy immediately beats it. And that's Kimaru. About 100th off, and then Zed, meanwhile, pips Troy by 0.2. So it's a McLaren leading. Avery beats Bluey. Morgan slots in behind Kimaru. And then we have the Ferrari and the Red Bull coming right next to each other. John takes it. Nikki down in 7th, provisionally. John beats Zed by a whopping 10. And that's a whopping time from the defending champion. 1:11.5.
Yeesh Louise.
Yep, and Draguni manages to pip his teammate in the other Williams by about 0.5. However, we do have... It looks like Skylar aborted his lap. Might have had track limits around.
Yeah. Must have invalidated sometime earlier.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, that's a set burned.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. We are now seeing the Alpine's defending constructors coming out. So, Lenny was on an Alpine last year. Now no longer on an Alpine. He is currently in the Red Bull. Sierra is going to be the first Alpine. Rounding turn 1 now. And then he rounds it out. He's staying flat. Got to keep your foot in it. So we're getting about a couple lap times here. Any surprises in this list to you?
Not
Just
that...
from, like, you...
Well...
Go on.
Well, not that I know of, or at least ones that I could see on currently on the timing sheets at this very moment.
Yeah. I am surprised to see more gone this far back. I think in some of the practices earlier she had a little bit more pace than that. But we'll see if she can put that down.
I mean, we'll see if we could chalk it up to just sandbags.
Exactly. Oh!
111.5.
Yeah, 700 Sierra's ahead by now. Provisional poll. As he searches for his back-to-back race wins. That's a good statement to go out on.
Yep. That's something extremely daring.
Yeah. Storm has a purple sector too. So that could also just be the game. F123 does sometimes like to give, well, a snail a purple sector too. This is the apex. This is not going to be quite there. 112 flat. Puts him ahead of John, so it's Alpine Red Bull provisionally,
Yep.
and then Zed. Is this going to be their highest start since, like, season 2 if Zed gets this?
At this point, if it stays that way, it might be.
Yeah. Leo, it looks like, had some kind of disruption on his lap. He is a 115 set. The season 1 champion, he's not got that pace. He's gonna set another lap. It's gonna be a banger, probably. Though we do have yellow flags. Oh! Yep, that's Dragoonies Williams having spun in Sector 3. Right behind the Alpine. Or right ahead of the Alpine, excuse me. Oh, and he mounts the curb! Takes out the 50 board. Misses the pit lane.
And his lap is invalidated.
Yep. That's the other tricky thing about those two turns. Your next lap invalidation extends from the exit of the second to last turn, and he just sends it into the wall. That's gonna bring out the Sector 1 yellow flags. Did it look like he even tried to steer there?
Honestly, it didn't look like it. It just rocketed almost straight on to the barriers. Thankfully, the stricken Williams has been cleared in record time.
Yeah. Actually, interesting thing in this quali session, neither house has set a time. I don't even think they've been out on track.
Yeah, no. They're just sitting there in their pits. Sitting in their pits. As far as I know.
Are they doing a last to first challenge, or are they waiting for the tractor rubber in? No. But, yeah.
Yep,
So our current provisional...
Oh, there is a Haas going out.
Oh, yeah. It's Drew?
Yep.
Came second in Kota. We'll see how he does today. Searching for his first win in the FRL, excuse me. I nearly said Formula 1. That's a different thing.
Yep.
Looking at that Haas. Appropriate side pods this time. No bendy logos here.
And
who is on a flyer? The McLaren of Morgan's on a flyer. Let's see what she does. She is improving.
Yep.
3
A
tenths.
much better sector too. Move in a little slide.
Yeah. Rounding the last turn, across the line. 113.2 puts her ahead of Skylar. But a tenth behind Kimaru. Zed, her teammate, they are up in 8th now. 112.9. Now they're going to be looking to improve, and in fact, they are being sent out of the pit lane. Drew, meanwhile, has begun his flying lap. He's rounding about as we have about 5 minutes, 40 seconds left. Drew takes a bit of curb, and that's a purple sector 1. Fastest of everyone there. Here they go. Gonna round this right-hander nice and flat. Gets the DRS right at the line. This turn's pretty tight. But he gets the nice setup onto the S's. Now it's the last 2 turns. Just gotta make sure that he doesn't invalidate his lap. Gets right up to the white line. Uses as much of the track as he can. DRS is open. And
He
that's
sticks in P5.
A 112 flat. Which is not a bad time for the Haas. The other Haas of Wolf is currently in the garage. I wonder if they're going to play around with the soft tires in the race, though.
This would be my impression.
Yeah. You were a former driver. Leo has invalidated his lap time. I apologize. But anyway, you were a former driver, Prit. What strategy do you take around here? What strategy would you go for?
What strategy? What did I think about it? Yeah, what I think about it in my my strategy pretty much just entails which working out which every last bit of rubber from the sauce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not much of a strategy at all.
Yeah, it is by definition a strategy.
Yeah.
Don't put yourself down.
Well, yeah. At least not one I would consider. One I would do it.
Yeah. So, Troy to lead Sauber. Currently on his hot lap looking for improvement. 2 minutes 30 left in the session. Drivers are going to be getting their final laps in. I see a couple coming out. That's a Merc and a McLaren. And a Ferrari working their way out. There is an Aston Martin on the track. That is Avo.
And the
Sauber
doesn't improve.
No
Stays exactly as he were.
Yeah, that's going to give Zed a real opportunity here if they can find improvement. They have a 112.967. They just need 200ths to pip Troy for what could very well in the race becomes a fight for the last 2 points paying positions here between Sauber and McLaren. We have a gaggle of cars behind them.
To Wolfie, as he sets a 112.7 P9.
Indeed. That's not a bad P9 there, so it is... Now it looks like a fight for that last points-paying position to at least start on it. Bluey's on a flying lap. He will be approaching the Sauber Troy. Oh no, I think he's not. Never mind. I apologize. Morgan, meanwhile, is starting her last flyer. Most of these cars should be able to get over the line in time. Morgan rounding the hairpin. Gets right up to the curb, but doesn't quite use it. Maybe needs to straighten out a little more on the S section there, but goes on to the back straight. DRS is open, brakes. Holds the inside there. Turn quite like... Not quite the same as Luffield and Silverstone, or folks may be more familiar with, but it is quite a similar sequence of corners in a lot of ways.
Still,
but Morgan's gonna be across the line.
P10.
Yeah, she snipes P10 from Troy and becomes the lead McLaren. We'll see who else has improvement in the tank. Avo's in the pits. Skylar's also in the pits, so these two... Yes, Skylar had an invalidated lap, so we pulled it in. Zed, no improvement. We have a few cars that are going to be coming across. There is a Ferrari very slow on the front stretch.
It is Mateus. And he's invalidated a lap.
Looks like both Alpines are coming in. No.
And Mateus is missing his front wing.
Ooh. So Mateus must have hit a bad accident at the wall then. Morgan's gonna come into the pits. She is the last driver we are waiting on to get in. Drew manages to keep it in P5, only a 10th behind Storm. Lenny hits the retire button just to get the menuing done quicker. But we are now wrapping up. Essentially just waiting for everybody to finish up.
Just waiting for your AIs to cross the line.
Essentially. And we are done. So we have our final starting order for the FRL Spanish Grand Prix. And it's going to be your Red Bull of Lenny, the defending champion, taking pole position. Sierra and the Alpine take second. Storm is in fourth. Right behind the leading McLaren and Season 1 champion of Leo. It's then Drew in the Haas lining up with John in the second Red Bull. Kimaru lines up 7th, but ahead of Mateus, the lead Ferrari, in 8th. It's then Wolfie, the secondary Haas, in 9th, and Lazarus, the lead Sauber, in 10th. We then have the McLaren of Morgan and the Sauber of Troy. It's then Zed and the other McLaren lining up next to their longtime battlemate of Skylar. And we will finish up the starting grid as soon as I can keep reading it. But it was quite a starting grid, for sure. And we are now going to get ready for the race. In our fun times, we can just see the pit boxes. Turn 1 here is a pretty fast right-hander. You think there's going to be any chaos in the turn 1 here?
Ooh. I hope not, but no Formula One.
Yeah, I do know these drivers.
Yeah. This is Formula One. First lap it's in, and then will happen.
Alright. So finishing up, after Zed, it is the lead Aston Martin of Skylar, then it's the second Ferrari of Nikki, the second Aston of Avo, and then it's an all Williams back row, Draguti leading Bluey. As we go across the formation lap, these drivers, they're going to want to warm up their tires as best they can, and there is already a classic storm gap brewing. And they're now too wide. Looks like an IndyCar rolling start back behind Storm. Mm-hmm.
So predictions.
Yeah.
Predictions. Who's gonna take home? Who has the other hand on their trophy? Yeah.
Oh boy. Hold on, let me handle that while getting my response out. But I think it looks like Lenny's coming in strong. He's had a really strong quali lap. I don't even think he was able to beat it in the session. He is looking very strong. I think he's going to want to make his title defense up to a... He's going to want to kick it up in the gear. What about you, Prid?
At least that's what I think so too. Provided almost nothing goes wrong. Almost nothing goes wrong for him.
Well, it's Formula One, so you just said that he's gonna, get a nice bump into turn 1. Yeah, here we go. The drivers again. This looks like an IndyCar rolling start almost. Got a couple guys wiggling around back there as they line up on the grid. Couple people missing their pit boxes. Do not worry about those disqualifications. That is just how F123 communicates that you missed your pit box. And it's 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. FRL is away in Spain. Lenny gets a good launch off, and that's Leo ahead of Storm into turn 1. Sierra is disconnected again. But Storm, Drew gets up ahead of John. Kimaru is up in 6th. Sierra's down in 8th now. Wolfie gets past. Sierra just tumbling down the order after more technical issues hit them. But so far, it's Lenny with a half a second lead over Leo, and then Storm almost a second back. Drew in 4th. Morgan moves up into 9th as there's a yellow flag in Sector 2 that looks like a Sauber and Aston Martin off. As well as Williams, Avery, Laz, Draguni involved. Bluey starting to fall behind. And then we have, so our top 10, Lenny still holding the lead. Leo has closed that up a tiny bit. Storm behind by a second. Then it's Drew, John, Mateus, Kamaru, Wolfie, Morgan, and Troy. Sierra has gotten back into the session, but he is down out of the points in that Alpine. He's going to be looking to recover up. It's then Zed in 12th, Skylar in 13th, Nikki 14th, Bluey 15th. Zed gets past Sierra in the meantime. We are now looking at the fight for the lead. Leo is all over that gearbox of the Red Bull, looking for his moment. He is going to keep it with a DRS range. Storm is looking to make it DRS range with Leo to stay in this fight. Else, if he doesn't, then these two are just gonna get going, and that is, it looks like a Williams and Sauber in the pits for broken wing damage. Yep, it's Draguni and Laz. Aston Martin of Avery is still out. Storm has managed to get back in. Drew now having the safety car issue. It's going to be really close with both Storm and Drew for that safety car margin. Kimaru gets past Mateus. Kimaru getting around the outside of Mateus after that braking zone. Doing pretty well. Mateus looking to fight back, and there's another contact. Morgan contacts Wolfie. There was a broken end plate. The Haas is in the pits. And it's happened immediately. Morgan, meanwhile, looking to get past, looks inside, but Mateus covers up with the middle of the road. There's just action all over this road. Princess, what do you make of this so far?
Oh, so much action, so much craziness just happened right there and then.
Yep, Sierra now up to 9th. Morgan right up that gearbox. Kimaru is right up John's gearbox. They're going right for the right-hander. This should be DRS enabled. Morgan has it. Mateus covers the outside line. Morgan tucks in behind, not willing to give the move. Mateus, though, doesn't have the advantage of DRS to Kimaru himself. Leo is within that half a second to Lenny. Lenny sets the fastest lap. Mateus may have been almost a little wide there. Morgan coming down the straight. Looking.
Not close enough.
Not quite. Yeah, you need to be a little closer than that to make a move as we look at Kimaru as well. John and Drew are in their own little three-way scrap for 4th. Anything else to report?
Anything else? Oops. Aside from Lenny, Leo still being locked in a fight for first.
Yeah, Leo may have a chance up the front stretch, but it's just not able to quite close that gap.
Yeah.
So we do have a fight going on down in the back between Nikki and Skylar.
And Draguni is out.
And Draguni's out.
And safety car.
Yeah. Safety car out. So we get a chance to breathe. Draguni, was there any contact with Laz, or was that just a driver error? So we already have 3 moments to look at. I think I'm going to take note of those. So we had one on lap 1 with some of the Avo and stuff, and then we also had a little bit of a lap 3 incident involving Wolfie and Morgan. And it looks like the Sauber of Laz is also in the pits. Is currently taking it quite slow. Oh, was that a drive-through? He is on the hard tire.
Yeah, made a pit stop so I can rule out a drive-through.
Ah, got it. I might have just missed the pit box then. Turns with the tire choice. Who do you are you surprised that actually Sierra and Zed haven't taken the moment to get off of those softs?
No, with no, with Zed, I'm surprised. I was surprised. With Sierra, I know all those disconnections aren't exactly helping.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, indeed.
So I can forgive him for that.
Yeah. We are gonna have to pay attention to the safety car queue, though. There was a safety car incident last week involving the McLaren of Zed, just taking a little too much speed behind the queue. But we do have a couple drivers looking strong here. Little gaps forming. It looks like the storm gap is opening up. It's a Haas in the pits, Wolfie. Makes sense. He might want to get rid of those soft boots. Put on some different tires. Zed and Sierra choosing to remain on the softs. Nikki also choosing to remain on the softs. Wolfie's actually gone for a fresh pair of softs. So looks like the Haas team saving up their tires. There's a little bit of position changing going. I don't think there was any contact. I think there was just a little bit of weirdness of cars stopping and starting and stopping. So we have medium and hard runners as well as soft runners. When do you expect people to start peeling into the pits now after the safety car?
Probably for those still on softs, I'd probably expect them to pit within a few laps or so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the exact number of it.
Yeah. And you think any of the medium runners in the top four might try to extend for the to make it a soft run come? Ooh, the Ferrari and the Red Bull are getting close on the restart. Zed's gone very wide, gets a little swirly. The Haas of Drew is very slow. They're going side by side. There's a McLaren out at the gravel.
What is happening?
Troy gets past. And it's happened again under safety car. But here we go. We are once again away. Lenny goes down. Leo is not caught off guard by the jump. He's closing in. He's looking to the inside, but Lenny manages to hold it for now. We then have position changes in the back. Morgan overtaking Kamaru and Avo. And Nikki's gotten past Skylar. Skylar's gone down 2 positions, actually, to both Nikki and Storm. He manages to stop the bleeding, but Storm is now side by side with Nikki. He pushes out wide. And he takes the place from Nikki. Morgan gets past Bluey, and Avo actually manages to get past Kamaru. They're side by side in the back here. There's some gray racing going on with these two. And oh, there's contact! 2 bits of contact! Looks like Kamaru was maybe trying to squeeze Avo, but I can't be too sure. But Wolfie's now side by side with Avo. And they're really tight. But Wolfie does get past. Now Kamaru's looking to get past the Aston Martin. Little bit of lag. And there's contact again! That's Kamaru! Spun around. And Laz gets by. Why, I think the stewards are gonna have to look at after that one. Morgan, meanwhile, is past Nikki. It's now 2 McLarens guarding the last 2 points-paying positions, and it looks like the field has somewhat stabilized. Anything you wish to add about that safety car restart, Fred?
Well, of course, there's always something weird. Might always has to happen.
Indeed, indeed. I do think the stewards might have to just take a look at that whole safety car restart. But we do have a couple gaps forming. Morgan makes a DRS pass on the Sauber of Troy. She gets ahead. Troy looking to fight back. Morgan up at the 8th place, though.
And the car has spun.
Yeah, Nikki spun. And Nikki is stationary, and she's managed to get it back going. Troy, meanwhile, looking to fight back, but of course, there is the McLaren now. He's not going to have DRS. That McLaren soft tires are still holding up. Said they are looking. They are hungry. They said they want that 9th place. And the Sauber may continue to fall back after a pretty good qualifying start. Not quite able to find a way past on that back stretch. Up front, Lenny's managed to eke out quite a long gap. I think those 2 up front are going to be in tire saving mode. You know, there's kind of a John train. Mateus is going to be looking for some kind of move with the DRS. He pulls a little inside, but thinks better of it. John holding on to 3rd. The last of the podium positions. There's about 4 drivers in that fight, including Sierra, our last race winner, Mateus, and Drew. Do have some kind of move. Wolfie looking to the inside of Troy, who was passed by Zed. Troy went really wide, gave a lot of room, but those soft tires, those fresh soft tires, allow Wolfie to get the traction on the outside line, and he takes the place. That's Sauber out of the points. Zed having a little bit of lag that Wolfie has to contend with, but Wolfie is going to have the DRS on the McLaren. Looks
not close enough,
but Zed covers it off. These 2 are having a fine duel. Storm's past Sierra.
And Sierra has
past Sierra.
And Sierra has spun. And
Yeah, he was in the old chicane. Safety car is out. I'm not sure why the safety car is out. I think it was just stationary Alpine, but that's both him and Avo now in the pits. Avo looking to get off with the hard tire already.
And Laz is missing a front wing.
Ooh. Wonder if there was contact then. Not quite between Laz and something. Maybe Laz just had a spin of his own, because I don't think his Sauber was by anyone. But for your full race updates, still leading is Lenny. Second place will be Leo, and then it is the other Red Bull, John, who's managed to fight his way up to third. Then the lead Ferrari of Mateus, and the lead Haas of Drew. LP, the defending constructors, have their first drivers Storm in sixth, and then it's the two McLarens, Morgan and Zed. The second Haas of Wolfie's in ninth, and rounding out the points is the Sauber of Troy, who kind of got bailed out a little bit there. And the whole front of the field's pitting. And 5-second penalty for John speeding into pits. Mateus is up. There's a whole lot of pit lane juggling going on. Everybody's going to want to get this free pit stop, except for Troy. And Skylar. They're going to emerge behind Lenny. So, Troy and Skylar have yet to stop. And they are going to be up in the podium positions, but behind them will be Leo ditching his mediums for a fresh set of hards. He's going to probably try to take to the end, same with Mateus. Drew and Storm are going to be on a fresh set of mediums. Can they make them last about 20 laps? Or maybe they're just going to bank on another safety car. John with a 5-second penalty now. Also on a fresh set of hards, he could just take to the end. And then it's, once again, the two McLarens now on a fresh set of hards. I don't think they have to stop again. Sierra also doesn't have to stop again. He abandoned his softs for hards. Avery is on softs. But he also doesn't... And he will have to stop again, just because there's no way those softs are going to get to the end. Bluey on a fresh set of mediums. Nikki and Laz also on fresh mediums. So only 3 drivers are on older tires. It's Troy, Skylar, and Kimaru, the AlphaTauri, in 5th. Are you surprised that maybe they want to stay on these old sets?
One part of me says yes, but there's another part of me loudly saying otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're pulling some sort of blinder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I suppose it is one of those things where if you manage to maintain that kind of track position, you look like a genius. If you immediately go out of the points on the restart, you look like an idiot. Oh dear. That that Mercedes, excuse me. Safety car rounding out. I will say, at the very least, the safety car driver will be getting in his miles today. Settle in, folks, though. This is still going to be a long race ahead of us. We're not even halfway done. Safety car in this lap, so we're going to have to watch the field. Make sure that nothing bad happens. on this critical restart feed.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully these drivers will be able to remember that the game does force the lead car to slow down. And Lenny's taken off and we're away! He's went pretty early this time, and I don't think Troy was able to catch it. Maybe he also doesn't have the traction. Leo is all over the back of Skylar. He's looking to the inside. And here we go, too wide. Leo breaks pretty late. Manages to avoid the rear of Troy. Troy struggling for grip on this restart. Those are 14-lap-old mediums. They are not going to have that kind of grip. There's a Haas getting past Kamaru on the older hards. And Saul is now up to second. Mateus up to fourth past Skylar. Storm also advancing. Looks like those who chose to stay out are really biting it here. Mateus up to third. And I am currently looking at Leo, who is now 3 seconds behind Lenny on those mediums. But I think Lenny started on the medium, so he is going to have to stop again for a set of softs. Presumably is what he is going to do. Skylar's all the way down in... He must have gone off the track. He is off the track. Looks like the Aston Martin pit will have had a disastrous call there. And Skylar's now the last of the runners. We have Drew getting past Troy. Troy also falling behind. That Sauber not looking great. But the Alpine and Troy go side by side through turn 1. But that Alpine just has way more grip with those new mediums. Storm is up past. Same with Drew. John has also fallen back to 7th. Here, he is going to be looking to get past Troy, though. He's all over his back. Troy take the normal line, gets out. John maybe looks for room underneath the Sauber. That Sauber's very slow. He gets around on the outside. They are going to be side by side onto the DRS straight. They're 3 wide now. As the McLaren and Morgan gets in, they're going to be 3 wide into one of the tightest turns. Now 2 wide. Troy falls back. He is dueling with the McLaren, but that McLaren just has too much traction, and now the Haas is getting past.
He is getting swarmed.
Troy is falling back. Yeah, that's going to be an AlphaTauri also looking to get back. That's Kamaru. But Kamaru is now side by side with Sierra. Sierra gets past. And now we're 1 by 1 down the front stretch. 2 by 2 now. I saw a little bit of lag. The Sauber and the Alpine side by side, but Sierra's ahead. Troy continues to fall back. He's going to be out of the points very shortly as Zed also gets back. Same with Kamaru. Kamaru looking for room to get at Zed now. This is one heck of a restart. Bluey even looking to get past Troy now, and I think the Sauber pit wall, much like the Aston Martin pit wall, are going to be ruining their choice here.
Oop, and someone has spun it.
Someone spun that.
It's Avery. He's missing. Yeah, he's missing a front wing.
Is there anybody else involved? I don't think so.
No, it
just
looks like
driver error.
Yeah, it looks like he must have spun on his own.
Yeah.
And there's a virtual safety car.
VSC, so both Troy and Skylar are going to have a chance now to get off of the aging tires. And yeah, here comes Troy. There's no other option there if you're Sauber. You have to do that.
Yeah. Skylar is still staying out.
I am not sure if I agree with that call, but maybe the Aston Martin pit wall is going to be waiting a little bit for a safety car, a full safety car. So that's pretty much how to get back into this race. Avery is also in the pits, obviously, to get that
Yep.
front wing fixed.
Green flag running. Once more.
Yeah. Indeed. Storm now is going to be over the back of Drew. Drew got the podium finish in Coda. But Storm, these two are on equal tires. These cars are equal performance. Morgan past Wolfie. But Wolfie is looking to fight back, maybe, but Sierra takes advantage of the compromised line. Sierra's up into 8th. Nikki past Bluey. Getting past in that turn as well. We're seeing a lot of overtakes at the start of Sector 3. But Storm and Drew side by side into turn 1. Storm gets the overspeed with the DRS, but Drew is fighting back. Tries to fight back on the outside. Not quite able to do it. There was a little bit of flashing as the batteries run low. I think Storm set a purple Sector 1 through all this. But Drew looking to get by. He's all over the gearbox of Storm now. That Alpine's gonna have to make itself wider than a truck, cover off those lines. I'm on board with Drew. Drew is gonna have the DRS coming down here. We have seen a couple overtakes on this restart. Not gonna see one right now, though. As Storm also gets the DRS on Mateus. Leo 5 seconds behind Lenny. Lenny, who is going to have to two-stop. And here we go. There is some fighting down in the back, too. Nikki might have a run, but Laz might also have a run on Nikki. Back here, the Sauber opens up its DRS flap. So does the Ferrari. So does the Williams. But Laz is pretty close. He looked inside. Not quite able to make it happen. Laz just broke a little too early to make a kind of move happen there. Going back up to the front. Storm still in this battle. Now it's with Mateus. He has cleared Drew. He is going to be looking for a pass here. In terms of tire strategy, a couple of these guys are not going to have to stop again. And, well, let's give ourselves a full race update now on lap 21. 13 to go. Lenny, the race leader, led on lap 1, has not looked back since. Leo in second, also maintaining position from early on as the Storm gets past for third. Using the DRS, just has the overspeed, manages to make it work. Mateus, the Ferrari, in fourth. It's now Drew, 5th in the Haas. Sierra, 6th in the Alpine. John Elvis, 7th. Wolfie, 8th. Skylar is pitting. He's down in 15th. Then we had the two McLarens in 9th and 10th. Morgan leading Zed. Then it's Kimaru looking to get into the points, but he is 5 seconds behind Zed. Nikki within DRS of Kimaru. Bluey within DRS. And Laz and the lead Sauber behind. Laz is all over the Williams right now. But that Williams is able to just hold on with the DRS. Mateus remains in DRS's Storm, but not sure how much longer that is going to last. It's the two Aston Martins in last after the two Saubers. Skylar leading Avery, who just had a broken wing. I think that Aston Martin pit wall is going to be hoping against everything for a safety car. Especially one before Lenny catches up and laps him. As we have a side-by-side action. The Sauber trying to get past the Williams. The Williams has used up its battery. Laz is through. As there is an Alpha Tauri in the pits. Kimaru. I think they had to repair a front wing too, judging by the pit length. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
Plus, I know that they got rid of his, 20 lap old set of tires? Set of hards?
Yeah, that he had to. It was the tires he started on. Had 2 safety cars to try to get rid of him, but I guess this is the disadvantage of starting on the hards. Well, you can go long. Safety car happens. Like you either force yourself into a 2-stop or just have to suffer with older tires. Looks like Mateus is all over Storm. Just managed to narrow that gap. I think those hard tires are going to start coming to life right now. We might be approaching the phase in the stint where the hard tires are the tires to be on. Here we go. Leo, for his credit, has managed to keep the gap to Lenny. Red Bull are going to... Ooh!
As we see it.
With the fastest lap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Lenny and Leo are on 2 different strategies now. Leo almost assuredly going to the end on his hards. Lenny started on the mediums. And he is going to have to hit again for a new compound. That's how the regulations work. Who do you think has the strategic advantage right now?
The advantage of the front 2?
Yeah. Just between Lenny and Storm. And Leo, sorry.
You know, you might. I bet my. I bet my money on Lenny.
Yeah. Yeah, I could still see why. 5-second gap, especially if a safety car happens, it's gonna become around 13 seconds, but depending on when he pits.
Which is right now.
Oh. Well, here we go. We're gonna find out whether the 2-stop or the 1-stop is superior here in Spain. As Leo takes the lead of the FRL Spanish Grand Prix. Lenny putting on new softs. But he is gonna have a few cars to get by. As it looks like Mateus and Storm continue a legendary scrap here. For what in the net would be the last podium position, assuming they all stop again. But that is not an option. 0 with a 3-second time penalty for track limits now. Louis gets past John as John pits. Also for softs, both Red Bulls on a 2-stop. We'll see how John gets through the field. He shouldn't really have problems getting back into the points on fresh softs. A couple of these medium runners may have to come off of their tires. Lenny does get past Wolfie. He set a purple sector 2. I wonder if we can get their last laps out. Can only get their fastest laps, but Mateus does get past Storm in turn 1, and this scrap continues. It looks like he managed to hold the inside line, finally make the DRS pass work into turn 1. And now he's got 4 attempts on him. Storm, meanwhile, though, does have some pace on those mediums, but I think the hard tire, in terms of those who are not going to stop again, the hard tire is starting to come to life. Laz and the Sauber is managing to keep the 2-second gap to John. We then have Storm. So, Leo, meanwhile, has kept a 2-second gap to Mateus. It's about where it should be. Lenny has DRS in Sector 2. Lenny is over to back of Sierra. Sierra, for the sake of his teammate, is going to have to make that Alpine as wide as possible, but he can't do it. Lenny forces his way by on the inside there. Just has the traction with those soft tires. And he's now up to 5th place. 3 seconds to Drew.
And he set the fastest lap of the race along with it.
He sets the fastest lap of the race while overtaking somebody in a pretty unconventional way. That's the pace difference right now. Lenny is going to have to quickly claw out at Drew, but Drew is a faster driver than a few of them. But he is on 14-lap-old mediums. And then we're going to have Storm and Mateus. It's the only other barrier between Lenny and fighting Leo for first. Looking at the rest of the grid, Kimaru does get past Bluey, so Bluey down into 14th. Nikki still holding 15th, both Astons holding 16th and 17th. Lenny, we are looking at Lenny's charge up through the field right now. He's going to have DRS here. I think that's Drew. I thought I saw a blinking red light. He does have a blinking red light. He is out of battery. He's out of resources. Lenny easily gets past.
While also setting an even faster lap.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we're going to be in an interesting phase of Lenny's strategy here as Storm retakes second. He's got 4 seconds to go. About 5 laps to go. Between him and 2 really squabbling cars. This is going to be a little bit more tricky than the simple DRS passes on one person. If you're Lenny... Well, I guess if you're Leo, what is the best case here for Lenny to get past these two?
Best case is probably to have both Storm and Mateus keep fighting and presumably block Uncle Lenny's from and trying to charge on right ahead.
Yeah, Lenny sets another fastest lap. Okay. And Bluey has a 3-second time penalty for track limits. In the F1 game, you get 2 warnings, and then it is a penalty. This is a little different to real life, where it's 3 warnings before the penalty. Mateus and Storm continue their mighty scrap. These two are just all over each other. They are talented, and they are fighting for that second place. But do they know that the jaws of terror are starting to close in on them as Lenny comes up in that Red Bull, and there might be some bass-boosted music to go with it.
Is already under a second behind those two.
Yeah, he's already... I think in that corner alone he chipped away half a second. He's gonna look to maybe get that DRS pass done. His wing opens up. Here we go. They are side by side, Mateus. And Lenny might even also be able to get past Storm. He does. But he's in the
goes
gravel.
off track. Oh,
He's off track. He lets by
and he's
Mateus,
and
and he
he's
spun.
oh,
Oh no! He might have just taken a little too much speed through turn one and gotten tapped while rejoining the circuit. And
oh
all of that
no.
progress is undone.
Oh,
That might even be the podium with it, but Bluey DNFs!
and a full safety car has come out.
Skyler
And,
with a track limits warning.
and Nikki's missing a whole front wing.
Ooh. So lap 30, that might have been an incident between Nikki and Bluey then. Let me write that down. But so far,
The
well,
top three are
it
taking your
has been a
opportunities.
cleaner race.
Yeah. Top three are making your opportunities to go for new tires.
Yeah, you really have to here. If you have the soft tires, Drew stayed out. So Drew is going to be leading. Wolfie has a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pits. But Drew, I feel like I've seen this one before. Morgan has a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pits. But I feel like I have indeed seen this one before. We have Leo on fresh softs. We have Drew with the track position, but on really old mediums. And we may have one lap of racing. What does that sound like to you?
Sounds like a recipe for quite a bit of fun and quite a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
The whole 1 to 2
Zed out
lap
of all the
sprint.
drivers who pit. Yeah. Sorry. Zed out of all the drivers who pit has gone for fresh mediums. I know I mentioned before, Zed likes to use all 3 sets of soft safety car in this lap. With half the field not even there. That is a quirk of the game. That Red Bull's gone pretty fast outside. But yeah, this is a quirk of F1 games in general, but as we get going again, Skylar's just gone off into the gravel to let the field by. But they always guarantee 2 laps of racing when safety car happens. They try to avoid ending under safety car. As here we go. Drew is going to try to... Oh, there's a lot of squirreliness going on, and we're away! Yellow flag's out, but I think that's just from Skylar going slowly. Leo looking to pass to take back the lead. Drew is going to make that hacks as wide as he can. He has to. There's an incident behind.
And one or both
it looks
the
like both
Alpines.
Alpines and maybe an Aston?
More likely both Alpines were involved.
Yeah, looks like Leo, though, is past Drew. Drew's track position has not helped. Drew is now holding second. He has to make that pass as wide as he possibly can. Lenny on the slightly older softs should be able to make quick work of him. But we will see. Slipstream is happening. Lenny pulls off to the outside. He tries. He has the traction, but Drew has the inside line. They are too wide. Lenny now has the inside line and the traction, but Drew squeezes as much as he can. There's contact. But Drew is ahead. He is driving his heart out. Lenny is putting down some laps. Leo is now in the clear. It looks like he should be winning this race. Lenny is passed on the main straight, but Drew has the inside. No, Lenny's passed. Drew now holding third. Mateus fourth. Wolfie fifth. The Haas is going to be looking to get by. He's looking for the inside line. Doesn't quite get the traction he needs to take it. Drew is going to be fighting like hell to maintain this podium position. That has got to be the widest Haas right now as I go through the S's. Going up into the back straight. This is one of the last best chances to overtake. John is past Wolfie. He got by on the outside there. Mateus looking to the inside. He's looking for his first podium of the season. Drew is having none of it. John is to the inside of Wolfie. Wolfie spun. There may have been contact. Wolfie is out.
What a shame.
Wolfie spun. The Ferrari is passed by John, but Leo wins the FRL Spanish Grand Prix in a chaotic shootout. Lenny in second, hurt by a late safety car and a spin, but that late safety car may have allowed him to recover to P2. Then it's Drew in P3, taking those used mediums, not to a win, but his gamble at least got him to third. John in fourth for the other Red Bull, Mateus fifth. Then it's the two Alpines in sixth and seventh. Then it's the two McLarens in eighth and ninth. And then Kimari rounds out the points in 10th. Laz is in P11, Skylar P12. Troy and the other Sauber in P13. Then it's Nikki. Wolfie, unfortunately, DNFs, but he does get classified ahead of Bluey because of the 90% distance. And Bluey was lapped. Sorry, Skylar. That was Skylar, not Bluey. Bluey DNF'd. His second DNF in a row. A painful end, though, for Wolfie in that Haas. But a well-earned, well-deserved victory for Leo. He made his hard strategy work. He had the track position when it counted. And maybe got a little bailed out by a late safety car. As well as a little bit of driver error. Maybe too eager of a pass from Lenny. But man, I love a good last lap shootout. That was a shootout. Fastest lap point goes to Storm in the Alpine. We had one chaotic, but wild race session. Any notable moments for you, Prid?
Notable moments. Get off an actor and say, "Guess I bet the wrong horse." A race winner.
I think we both did. But I think Leo, out of all the drivers here, he's not always the fastest in pace, but I think he is the one who is always thinking about the bigger picture of the race here. He's always got his brain, his mind, like 5-10 laps ahead of everyone else. And that's just, in races like this, that's what lets him get ahead. Lenny had a higher risk strategy, though. We will say that. I will say that. His strategy was higher risk but high reward. If he didn't overspeed, if he was able to get past Leo, then that pretty much would have been it. However, that is all for now. We will have a more official race classification later, and we will be able to relay any changes into the series, as well as give a more accurate point standing for the next Grand Prix. The next Grand Prix will be in 2 weeks, as we are taking a week-long break for the Saudi Grand Prix. Yeah, in real life. Our next round of the FRL season. Correct me if I am wrong. It is going to be Japan. The Great Suzuka Circuit. Producer of Champions. A difficult circuit to overtake around, but still should be an exciting race. Anyway, I have been Nexy. We hope to see you on March 16th for round 3 of FRL. Thank you very much. Goodbye.